You've spent countless hours in the garage with your dad. Now investing in that old car and working on it with your son reminds you of him. And his legacy lives on. Fund your passion with a low-interest home equity line of credit from Bank of Blue Valley.
Hi, Scott. How are you? Look at you.
Oh, I don't know. Just have a little cup of brew. How are you doing?
Scott, you're in the wrong industry.
I should be in the product placement industry?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Do I have the hand modeling?
Look at you're like, which one am I supposed to model? Which one? How have you been?
I'm doing good. I wonder, is that me buzzing?
Yeah, I don't hear it. It must be you. How was your holiday week?
Well, my in-laws took my oldest son, so it's not a vacation when you have little kids. So we survived. How was your holiday?
It's not a vacation when you have kids at all. My kid's going to be 15 this year. So your vacations are over. Now you have fun family time. That's how you're going to remember it when you're old. Like, it's going to be fun family time, not just a lot of work like it feels right now. Mine was great. We went to Dallas. We had a really good time. It's always funny to take the Kansas City flight to Dallas because you don't have the people on the airplane, right? Because everybody goes back and forth from there. So it was a really good time. I got a lot of sun. You can probably tell I'm really red.
I do. I think you look wonderful, and I love that color as well because it's blue, just like our sponsor, Bank of Blue Valley.
That's why I keep you around, because not only do you know how to give a good compliment, you also always bring it back. I absolutely love
I have to. You've streamlined this whole show. It's the #1 business LinkedIn live show in Kansas City, and you have figured out a way to automate all of it, which is crazy when you have 4 guests every single week. And you have a great partner like Bank of Blue Valley. So I'm more of just like kissing up to you mode for the next month or two for everything you've done.
Oh, well, then I'm going to take full advantage. So here's the thing. I want to remind everybody that Bank of Blue Valley has some amazing home equity loans going on right now. That is how I personally am getting in a pool if it ever puts raining around here, right? And then also they are hiring. They have been growing like crazy. They are hiring. If you are bilingual, especially, you need to reach out to us and we will connect you with the right people at Bank of Blue Valley. But they are hiring company-wide. And Wendy will be on the show later, but I cannot imagine somebody better to work for. Scott, you muted yourself. That's a first.
So I muted myself. There's a little bit of feedback that the other guests are hearing in the bullpen waiting to get in, but it has calmed down a little bit and I could hear it too. So was just curious if there was anything on your end. But yeah, Wendy is like 10 different places at all times. And I can't hear the feedback anymore. So I think we're ready to roll.
Let us know too. Let us know if you hear feedback. And let us know if you're watching from LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube. We're on all 3 now. Mike Meyer says he's watching on LinkedIn. Looking forward to today. And Toby says, congrats on the recognition. Happy to join in and listen to your awesomeness. Let us know who you're excited to see today. And how about we bring in our panel? Nobody's here to see us.
That's right. Let's dance.
Okay, I've got the music ready. I just keep going with the same music. It's all sporty. We got a couple sports people on the show today.
Take that, Joel Goldberg.
Yeah, I'm practically Joel Goldberg. Fun fact, I see Joel Goldberg's daughter more than ever because her and my son are all of a sudden besties. So, hi, Joel, if you're out there, I remember you. All right, here we go. Okay. Today's first guest is Miss Jessica. Our next guest is Miss Mandi. Our third lady up to bat. Is that what this is? Oh, no, this is basketball. Kiffany. Look at Jessica. She's like, bless your heart. And last but definitely not least, our other male guest today, Jason. Lynn. Hi, guys. It's my best attempt to be a sports announcer.
That was awesome.
Thank you, Kiffany. I'm so excited to talk about your big week. So let's just dive into it. We've got a few comments over here. We've got Katie says she's watching on Facebook. Hey, Katie. Janae LinkedIn. She's here every week. I really
Janae kills it.
Rebecca is watching via LinkedIn, and she's excited about this panel and another great week of guests. Glad Jason's on here. All right, Matt, you better get ready for all these ladies, too. We've got a fabulous panel. So, Jessica, who are you? What do you do? And how do you get to Kansas City?
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me. I'm Jessica Blubaugh. I'm the director of Win for KC, which is a division of the Kansas City Sports Commission Foundation. I lead that division, and the Sports Commission as a whole drives economic impact through sports in Kansas City. WIN's mission is to empower the lives of girls and women through sports and fitness. I myself grew up in Manhattan, Kansas, made my way eastward and played softball at Johnson County, and then finished out school at the University of Kansas, where I started my career here, actually, ironically and randomly, at the Win for KC and the Sports Commission as an intern. Then was hired on as full-time staff, worked here for 4 years as a program coordinator, and then made my way further eastward to New York and worked for the Women's Sports Foundation for a while. And then from there transitioned to Teach for America, doing a lot of the same stuff, marketing and events, but have been in the nonprofit sector my entire career. Eventually made my way back westward after a short stint in Atlanta. And eventually through happenstance and connection in the small, big city that we live in, got reconnected with our president and CEO, Kathy Nelson, who was a volunteer for Win for KC when I worked here the last time. And she called me and said, do you want to work for Win for KC again? And I said, yes, absolutely. That's a 360 of my career I didn't see coming. So I've been back here since 2018, back in Kansas City since 2014, and loving every minute of it. I loved New York and I loved Atlanta, but Kansas City's home. So thanks for having me.
So I have a question.
Yep.
So is this Camp Win, like the camp in the summers?
Yes, it's a
My
camp that we
daughter
do.
loves that.
Oh, I love that. I
Yeah.
love that you've been. Yeah, so we're doing something insane this summer. So normally it's like 3 camps throughout the month of June, and we're doing 16 throughout the month of June this year to accommodate COVID. So we'll see if my staff all still stays after this.
Can you tell people what it is?
Yeah, so camp itself is an introductory camp for girls ages 6 through 12, where they're introduced to anywhere from 14 to 16 sports over the course of 5 days, with the goal that they're not only getting introduced to those sports that they can then go on and play and or participate in after, but they're also learning some of the life lessons that sports teach. So things like grit, teamwork, leadership, resilience. And camp's one of the many things that we do here at WIN, but it's all anchored around really how do you empower the lives of girls and women through the activity of sports and fitness, but also the life lessons that you then learn and can take on later on in your career.
One quick question. There are certain things that you've been a part of putting on for Kansas City. And I remember interviewing you for Centurions being like, oh my gosh, I should not be in the same room as this person. She's so much more talented. She's accomplished 10 times more than I could ever accomplish. So I guess, when do you sleep? And then tell us about some of the fun things that you've been a part of building in Kansas City that maybe are unique our audience may not know about.
Sure. Well, when do I sleep? Well, I got caught up on a lot of sleep in 2020 because when you do events as a living, it became very quick to a screeching halt, right, last year. But yeah, I mean, I think the events world is a balanced space. I've been very fortunate and very lucky to be a part of a lot of really cool things via my work. And what, I think Scott maybe some of the stuff that you're talking about is the Sports Commission. We are in charge of things like when the Chiefs win the Super Bowl and the Royals win the World Series. We play the role of herding all of the cats and all of the various amazing partners that happen in our city to help put those things on. So we get to do really cool stuff like that. We get to bring in events like Big 12 basketball to our city and put that experience on, which is really fun for us as an organization and fun to be a part of the fabric of Kansas City that gets to experience sports in that way. And then, I think just in general, my career has let me be a part of some pretty amazing nonprofit event experiences that I feel like, help me get in touch with all of the craziness and all of the lost sleep through event work that makes it worthwhile, which is fun.
Yeah, Jessica's a big deal. When she said yes to come on this, I was really excited. If you want to learn even more than Jessica, you're going to learn more today. But she was one of my guests back when I had the Cocktail Hour podcast. And I think that I was there for hours just asking questions. I was like, and then she's amazing. Well, thank you, Jessica, for coming on. Mandi, who are you? What do you do? And how do you get to Kansas City?
I am a real estate lawyer. So we simplify real estate issues for our clients. On any given day, we may be representing a client that would be purchasing a building that they intend to occupy. We may be representing subcontractors on various construction projects in the city that may be shaping the Kansas City skyline. Or we may be representing brokers or agents and advising them on potential liabilities. I am from Kansas City, born and raised. I worked for a mid-sized law firm for several years, and then about 7 years ago, started my own woman-owned full-service real estate law firm. We have been doing, it's been great, wouldn't change anything, and we've had great growth over the last few years. Anybody that knows me tends to know that I'm fairly community-minded and very involved. So I really believe in having a strong community. And I think that one of the ways that we do that is by giving back. So I am on the board for the Johnson County Bar Association. I chair the solo and small firm section for the Johnson County Bar. I am a commissioner for Leawood's Planning Commission. I'm on the board and the executive committee for Mainstream. And I just tend to, I said in 2021, I would start saying no. But that I do tend to be fairly involved. So.
Yeah, we've got a lot of busy people on our show today.
Yeah, no, I didn't know where to go with the next question, but you're also a banking real estate person's good friend because you can help them navigate and close that deal correctly for all sides.
Correct.
And so for something that, maybe the audience may not know, what is something that's kind of complicated that you think would be simple in a real estate transaction that you typically have to deal with?
A complication could be, an easement that's running through the property, or maybe the boundary lines aren't exactly what people thought they were going to be when they're going to purchase the property. And so we'll get brought in to help work with different parties, maybe work with the city and try to get everything resolved so that we can get to closing.
Yeah. Is there a strategy sometimes to when a neighbor needs to put a line through your property to not tell them until the last second, so then you can charge them a lot of money to do that? Do people do that?
I'm going to take the fifth on that.
I live next to Stillwell, and I hear that all the time. Of someone builds a big house, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, if you need anything, neighbor, let me know." And then they build, and then it's like, boom, talk to my attorney. And the price just went up. So I always like giving interesting facts on this show. So if you're building a big piece of land, make sure you talk to your neighbors ahead of time if you need their help. So
or give us a call. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that, Mandi, you and I know each other fairly well. I think your job is just going to get more interesting as we see what happens with commercial real estate, correct?
Right. Yes, it will be. It's interesting. We have, we deal with both commercial and residential, and it will be very interesting over the next couple of years. The commercial market has been, it has been shockingly, 2020 ended really, we're really busy. And so, right now, the projects that had started prior to, 2019, 2020, those are still going full speed ahead. There may be some hesitancy with other things, but, the market in Kansas City is great. So people are still moving forward. So we'll just see how it goes. It'll be very interesting.
And your friend Stephanie says, "Hey, it's Mandi Hunter." All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on. All right. I cannot believe you fit us in this week, Kiffany. Who are you? What do you do? How did you get to Kansas City? And did you have anything happen this week?
Oh my goodness. This has been such an exciting week. I know I posted on LinkedIn. I'm like, I get to open my first ice cream shop and I get to be on Drinks with Leaders. So this was so cool. I was honored to be even considered. So my name is Kiffany. Yes, it's with a K. I know, but you can blame my dad for that. I've been in Kansas City for about 7 or 8 years now. I was born and raised in Las Vegas. My husband's family's from here, so I was lucky enough to move here. I fell in love with the city, everything about it. 4 years ago, I started Cottontale Cotton Candy, which is an all-natural cotton candy event service. So I think we're near 600 events now going on site for corporate events, weddings, birthday parties, bar and bat mitzvahs, you name it. We bring the sugar and we have a great time. About a year ago, to be honest, same kind of with what I've heard already, events came to, a total halt. We had to pivot and we thought, what is a more universally understood treat? And I don't know, I haven't met anyone yet who doesn't like ice cream. I'm sure there's someone out there, but we wanted a place because everyone asks, where can we get your cotton candy? So we had a shop and found a great partner in Lane 4. They have just been amazing to us. And we opened on Friday in Red Bridge Shopping Center, Red Bridge and Holmes. Like, we have great neighbors. We're right next door to Crows. We have Wonderscope and Red Bridge Barrio. Could not be happier to be there. So we are like a made in KC for sweet treats. We sell Silas and Maddie's ice cream, Pop Culture popcorn, Mary's Mountain Cookies. They're in Belton. We basically, our whole philosophy is just uplifting other small businesses and really, trying to shine the spotlight on them. And of course, we'll have Cottontale Cotton Candy. So now I have a home base for our catering company, and we're moving and grooving, and the community has been so good to us. So we're just having a great time. And ice cream, Janae, it's awesome. We hope to, be able to serve all of you sometime soon. This weather right now is kind of a bummer, but I know that warm weather is right around the corner.
So, Kiffany, 2 questions. One, is there more sugar in one of your cotton candy servings or in a giant chocolate chip ice cream bar? And then second question is, are you doing any partnerships with Wonderscope that's right next door to you? Talk about great location for both of your businesses.
Absolutely. Great questions. Number one, there's more cotton candy. Wow. There's more sugar in the ice cream. The cotton candy that you see in our typical 16 ounce kind of deli tubs that we serve, that is barely a teaspoon of sugar. And and you're going to get more sugar in a soda from our cotton candy servings. And plus it's all natural. So it's dye free, gluten free, dairy free, soy free, all the things. So we are really excited to provide an all natural kind of safer, better version of a favorite treat at Cottontale. And then the partnerships with Wonderscope are definitely in the works. We want to support them and be at all their galas and all their exciting events over the summer and on moving forward. That's a huge thing that we also believe in, is being part of the community and giving back. So we love supporting and helping other nonprofits in the area. Our product was just at Forks and Corks the other week for Harvesters. So yeah, pretty much if there's someone that wants to pull us in for some treats, we say yes. We'd love to be there. So.
And
I just think there's a big misconception with cotton candy that
agreed.
It's just like an urban myth.
Yeah.
You're at the sun, you're going to go blind. It's there's a ton of sugar, and it was surprising to find that out. But there's a lot of great foundational partners that are on board for Wonderscope, and I just think there's lots of opportunity for your business. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you so much.
And I've seen you do all sorts of cool partnerships. She did Nickel and Suede's grand opening. Did the one where you get all the kids stuff for what is that called? The party place. You were in there for a little bit.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we had a short partnership with US Toy. Yeah, we were doing their ice cream treats in the back.
Local.
He's really good at partnerships.
Yeah.
So Jeff Dehan is going to be co-hosting with me next week.
Yeah.
Would like cotton candy ice cream. Is that something you serve?
We do.
Perfect. Field trip to get all the yummy treats. Rebecca will go with you.
Awesome.
And Janae says she loves the collaborative effort and cross promotion of each other. You all win when that happens. So Agreed. Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you, Kiffany, for this was quite the week to squeeze this in. So we really appreciate it.
Happy to be here.
Jason, who are you? What do you do? And how do you get to Kansas City?
Hey guys, first of all, thanks for having me on the show. And before I say what I do, I'm going to say why I do. And I've been a teacher for 11 years, and why I started 40 Athletes was because suicide is the second leading cause of death between 10 to 34-year-olds. And kids are quitting sports. 70% of kids are quitting sports by the age of 13 in a particular sport. So it's more my why. Like, we teach essential life skills through sports and online courses, digital content, and the building out some mentorship programs. So for me, it's 40 Athletes is here because we believe that sports, like Jessica said, can be a vehicle to teach the skills that will translate in the rest of your life. A basketball shot will do you some good and pick up KC, but it's probably not going to bring home the check for most of us. And skills like a positive attitude, that'll stick with you the rest of your life and give you some great fortitude to get through anything you're going through. So that's why we developed 40 Athletes. It was simply to teach the 4 dimensions that we believe are important, which are the environment, the spiritual side, the physical side, and the mental side, to create a holistic approach to sports. Kind of getting back to that John Wooden approach, where you develop better people become better players become better teams. And we all know no matter what business you're in, a great team will have much more success with great people. I am from Jefferson City, Missouri area, a small town. I went to Missouri State University, and the reason why I got to Kansas City was, it's a classic story of you meet a girl in college, she gets a job at MS Society in Kansas City. You're like, well, how do I get there? And I got my first teaching job at Alta Vista, which is now Guadalupe Centers in Kansas City. So I taught there for 7 years. Now I'm up at St. Therese in Parkville, and I've been there for 4. So that's what I'm doing.
Wow. The you and your wife, is it now your wife?
Yes.
You guys have an extreme sense of service to the community. Where does that come from? And then I've been waiting, I think, 8 weeks to ask this question. How did you get the gentleman that gave the I Am the Champion speech on your show? And talk a little bit about your show as well, and make sure to plug that. So where does the service come from in your family? And talk about your show and how you booked a really cool guest.
So Jonathan Flowers was a connection that a friend of mine, Karen Phelps Moyer, who's the daughter of Digger Phelps, she was like, hey, you need to meet this guy. I was like, okay. And so he was like, hey, let's start a show called I'm a Champion. I'm like, great. He's like, and then I was like, well, what if we did like I'm a champion in all areas of life, not just in sports? Like, what does it mean to truly be a champion of your own life? And so from there, it's just been actively networking. And what I mean by networking, I mean, like, what can I give? I think as I've studied, like, the more you give, and I'm a man of faith. I believe like it will be returned to you in ways that more you can ever imagine. So I believe in a giver's first mentality. Like, how can I help? And that's why we started 40 Athletes, is how can we help our youth in our society become more confident, more empowered, and more have self-worth. It's so many of them doubt themselves before they even know like what they're capable of. And some of it is comparison on social media. Some of it is like, their peer groups, because middle school and high school are tough to find your place in life, find your identity. And so that's what we're doing is, and with these shows and with our content, is like truly giving people an understanding of like how we use sports to make people feel great about themselves, to unleash their full potential. And I think, what was the first question? I'm sorry, Scott.
So you and your wife are obviously very committed to the community. Where does that service mentality come from?
It comes from our families, quite honestly. It was taught to us, like my mom and dad always believed in giving back. My dad, when he was alive, he was a volunteer. He volunteered. He was an electrician, and he always gave back to help out. And when he died by suicide, that was also another like driving force for me, because and it's been about 18 years. Now it's my fuel to get up early in the morning to build 40 Athletes, to still teach, because I know if I save one life, that one life could save 1 million.
So in the corporate world, sorry for asking so many questions. In the corporate world, what does an ideal client look like that would work with your consulting company?
Yeah, it's people that run sports clubs, organizations. It's we've had Joel Goldberg on our podcast as well. It's people that have great stories to tell. It's really we're just looking to partner with organizations that want to use it. It would be like Jessica, honestly, like how do we work with these companies to build leagues, to build to develop a prioritization of not win at all cost mentality on the field, but a win at all cost mentality of winning lives. Because when you win lives, then the scoreboard takes care of itself. It's going back to like investing in the process, not the outcomes. And I may be a little bit bold in saying this, but I think in youth sports, we've gotten so focused on the outcomes that it's putting so much pressure on kids to have to perform at an earlier age that they don't want to play anymore because there's too much pressure to get the hit or make the shot, and they don't just get to play anymore. Like they're so focused on rules and like the outcomes that they've forgotten how much they've grown as a person by simply playing sports. And there's some great coaches out there, don't get me wrong, but it's happening too much that I've seen in my experience as a coach, as an athletic director, and as a PE teacher.
Yeah, Bill Brandemeyer does a good job of contributing as well. Sorry, Aaron, go ahead.
No, that's okay. I just very rarely over here we have a private section. If you've never been on the show, we have a private section where we can talk. Very rarely do I ever ask permission if I can bring up something, but I did just now because it's always really weird to me when everything kind of comes together on a show. So I'm going to pivot. I hate the word. I can't believe I use it. I'm going to pivot a little bit off of our usual schedule because we have both Jessica and Jason here. And today is June 1st, which starts Pride Month, National Pride Month. And I was doing some social media for some clients earlier, and I ran across a fact. 1.8 million LGBT youth just this year either attempted or thought about or succeeded in suicide just this year, right? And I think part of the show, what I love as part of being part of the show is that a lot of times someone can just tell a story from their past and how that really changed something for them and for their future. And I find it really interesting that Jason's doing it in athletics, and then Jessica is obviously in athletics, but Jessica's also part of the LGBTQIA community, as I am. She was one of the very first people I came out to. And the story she told me before has resonated. So I wanted her to tell the story of when she was that age playing athletic sports, but also trying to deal with all these thoughts of who is she and who kind of made a difference in her life. So do you mind telling that story, Jessica?
Sure, absolutely. Happy to. Let's see. When I was in high school, I'm going to sound super dated because I think Manhattan High has like a really active students. I think it's Gay Straight Alliance is what they call it. But there was a high school counselor at the time who I think recognized in a number of us across the board that we were kind of struggling as individuals, and she sort of covertly organized what I would call the first Gay Straight Alliance in our school. And she would basically write passes for the six of us to get out of class, and we would meet because at the time it was not an administrator sanctioned gathering. She would write passes for us to get out of class. And the six of us would meet in like what was essentially a janitorial closet, which is hilarious that we were in the closet meeting in a closet, but brought together like six kids that were, sort of like breakfast clubby, if you will. Like we were from all different walks of life. Like I was the jock and the athlete, and there was a woman who was in theater and a kid who was sort of, I was in high school in the 90s. So he was goth. And wore a lot of black and painted his fingernails black. And it was just this transformational and formative experience, I think, of having an adult who recognized that there was something that each of these kids had in common and had the gumption and the fortitude to go around what was frankly the administration and do what the kids needed, which was find each other. We wouldn't have found each other, I think, on our own. And to have that adult who was willing to advocate and be an ally and to create a safe space for kids to talk and connect. And, I think that was a pivotal moment for me in my coming out experience, because I was in high school, I was figuring it out. And it was, sports was an outlet for me always, but I think that there's that need for connectivity and that need for representation, right? And kids see each other and themselves and each other and around the school. So it almost became like a little club on some level that like we'd see each other in the hallways and give each other like the head nod, like, oh yeah, we'll see you next week in the closet. But yeah, it was a pivotal moment for me and experience for me.
Jessica, wasn't that, I mean, think about that, 90s Manhattan, Kansas.
Yeah.
Whoever that counselor was,
Right.
was an amazing person. I mean,
yeah, I will call her out because I haven't been able to find her, but Maggie Davies was her name. So if there's anybody watching this right now and is still in contact with her, or if you're watching, Maggie, you were amazing. I'm still trying to find you. You changed some lives while you were there, and yeah, it was super progressive for a city like Manhattan. Or a town, I guess, if you will, then, right? It's still a growing community, but man, it's still a rural community too on some level.
No, thank you so much for sharing.
And to Jason's point, even just saving the one, if she would have saved one life, that one life is a huge deal. So that was just too much synergy coming together. We'll jump back into our regular scheduling program. Thank you, Jess, for saying yes, you'd share that story. We will not make you go first this time. We'll make Mandi go first. Mandy!
Yes.
Guess who's here?
Who?
Wendy.
Right, good job, Mandi. Wendy is here, and she is here with this week's question. So as soon as she's done answering, you can jump into your answer. And we'll just go back around that way. All right, here we go.
Is social media important to your business? If so, how much time do you invest in planning for it?
I think social media is very important. I think it's so interesting because it has kind of come like it's not necessarily anymore like who you know, it's whether people know what you do. And so I think like I said, I'm from Kansas City. I've been here forever and had never really done social media marketing before. And it was one of my goals in 2020. And I met Aaron. And so Lily and James, they help us. They are, they're just fantastic at what they do. Not everybody can do social media. And so I pay the people that know what they're doing to help us with it. Yes, I think it's really important in this day and age for people that know what they're doing to be able to identify not just the person, but like what you do. And so thank you, Aaron. You guys are great.
So I did not mean to pull that question for the week Mandi was going to be on. I already apologized.
And yeah, I think all of a sudden you're like, oh shoot, I just pivoted to Mandi. This is going to be a shameless plug. But
it really came off. I apologized earlier. We showed the question.
Organic.
Right.
But Mandi makes it easy because Mandi, you really are an expert. But a lot of times when you're an expert in something like being an attorney, you're head down in documents all day.
Right.
And you're not out telling people, hey, wait a minute, I'm an attorney, right?
Right. Yeah. People pay me to be an attorney. They pay me to deal with their, problems and to help them, progress in these transactions. That social media is not I didn't go to law school for that. They didn't teach us that. So I leave it to the experts to do that. But yes, I do think it's important.
Just like you should get an attorney when you're doing anything in real estate. Call Mandi. There's your table. They did it together. Well, okay. This is somebody that has grown her business off social media. So Kiffany, I'm excited to hear your answer.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if I had to rank, obviously in the food industry, safety is number one, customer experience and everything that we have, product, wise and everything is very important. But as far as sales and marketing, social media is number one for us. And learned a ton about how not only, Instagram and Facebook can grow our business and things, but LinkedIn. And I've learned a lot from you, Aaron, about LinkedIn. People always, they give me the funny face, like LinkedIn. And I'm like, it is amazing. And it's such an untapped social media platform, in my opinion, still to this day. Mm-hmm. So it's an easy way to stand out. So if you're doing, the pretty pictures and you're involved and you're really interacting and being genuine, I think LinkedIn is a great place to start. But I love Instagram. It fits our business because we have a lot of pretty pictures of cotton candy and ice cream and all the things. And so I still at this time do my own social media because I love the interaction and I love interacting with people and getting their, take on the experience that they have in the shop and at our events. So yes, it really, it means a lot to our business and it helps us grow, and we get a lot of business from social media.
Can you tell people a little bit about your influencer campaign you did on your grand opening night? Because I was out of town, so I wasn't able to go there, but there was pictures everywhere I turned on social media, right? So I don't think always business owners understand how important influencer marketing can be. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes. And am I saying it correct? It's the Edelman report, the global marketing people that come out with all these statistics. And they said 60 to 70% of people actively avoid ads. So if I don't run it personally, I don't run ads on Instagram or Facebook. I use influencer marketing, which it depends what kind of influencers you work with. Some are paid, some they will trade or barter. So that's a, case by case basis. It's my job to have really, really good relationships with influencers and people who are very influential, like yourself, Erin, in our business. So then I invite them to these events. I make sure I treat them really well. I tell them to bring their friends and family. I don't charge them. I make sure to encourage them. I give them a paper with all the handles so they don't have to search for who to tag. I make it easy for them to take all the pictures. I get lighting. I get professional photography and videography. So if they want to, do a special shot or an angle, we're there for them. I have every every wall was photo ready. I rented a champagne wall from the photo bus, Casey. So shout out to John DePrisco, and he's the best, in my opinion, for all the photo stuff. We just, threw a whole event for them. So it can make it really easy for them. And I think now, Mindy from Casey Bucket List has not posted yet, but with her reach, I would say we are in the range of 100 to 200,000 views and reach so far with that event. So I was really pleased with that, considering I just did that all myself. So it is pivotal to our business.
Yeah, no, and that I think proves anybody can do that on the local level, especially in the brick and mortar space, inviting people out and giving them a good experience. People are already taking pictures all of the time, just knowing the right people that will take them and will come and asking them. I think it's great. And I thought you did wonderful on that. And I would also agree with you that LinkedIn's a very untapped resource, especially we were talking about partnerships earlier. And that's where those B2B partnerships come through.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, Jason, how important is social media? You've been active this year too. How important has it been to you?
Yeah, I didn't realize how important it was until I really got diving into creating 40 athletes. And it's important to us because it's raising awareness, really of the importance of the issues that are going on and sending a positive message. I think social media can go two ways. It can either go really positive or really negative. And it's all about what the person hears on the other side of what you post too, because everybody reads it from their own perspective. So being very conscious about what you post, and also teaching how to use social media. I think so many times we're not really taught how to use it. We're just supposed to figure it out. And, especially with youth, there's so many of them that get so attached to their, how many followers they have, how many views they have. And for me, is my following huge yet? No, it's not. But I know, again, it's what if that one person watches a clip of my podcast and it was oh, wow, that was great. That helped me throughout the rest of my day. So it goes back to the power of one for me. And I know it'll grow organically, but it is very, as long as it's used for a positive way, I think social media can be a great thing.
Awesome. Well, you've been killing it this year. So that's how we got to know each other, was through social.
Yeah. And I love LinkedIn, by the way, because I think LinkedIn is the one platform where there's intentionality on social media. Mm-hmm. People are on there for a reason. They're not on there to post about their cat, which is great. A cat jumping in the backyard is fine, whatever. But I think if you really want to go on a social media platform to really get some traction in anything you're trying to do, I think LinkedIn is the best spot for that. Yeah.
I love LinkedIn, so you guys already know that. And I would almost say, Jason, not to overwhelm you, but you should check out TikTok for your brand as well.
Yeah, right. I know. It's I need a 16 or 17-year-old to run the TikTok show, because that's just a whole nother level. I'm not at there yet.
Fun fact, when we were in Dallas this weekend, I've got a girlfriend who's got a bunch of salons. She's got about 25,000 followers on TikTok, but she's 41. She's my age. We're not cool. And our friends' daughters are all 12, 13 years old. And when they found out she had 25,000 followers on TikTok, she couldn't have been cooler. I was like, all of a sudden, you're a celebrity. So start looking at, they didn't care that we were old ladies at that point, mom's friends at that point. So start looking into it. Jessica, how about for Win? How important is social media? And it's almost like you have two kind of demographics. So can you speak to how you guys manage that?
Yeah, I mean, it's hugely important to us. I think we use it to hit sort of three different audiences, I would say. We hit it, our participant audience, in terms of just people who are interested in doing our events. We hit it on the parent side of things. So we really use it to get to the parents of the girls who come to our camps and clinics and events. And then we really hit the, just like women's sports advocate space. And, I think so much of what we do at WIN and the Sports Commission is events focused, and events in my mind are just a multi-sensory marketing channel, right? Like they're events are a marketing tactic, and the social media connection to making an event successful, both from a pre-promotion and a registration perspective, but also just from a real-time sharing experiences and commenting, it's hugely important. I agree with Jason. I think the positivity piece is huge, but man, it's powerful if you can leverage it the right way. And Aaron, to your point about TikTok, I had to set a limit for how long I'm allowed to watch TikTok a day, because it's like a black hole. Like you get on and it's like an hour has gone by and you didn't realize it.
So fun fact, TikTok actually has the most robust algorithm to the person. Like they are light years ahead of Facebook and Instagram and all of those. Like Mark Zuckerberg wishes he had, it feels like Facebook's listening all the time. TikTok's way farther ahead. So if you feel like TikTok knows exactly what you want to see, it's because somehow they do. Yep. They absolutely do. Yes.
Very good at it.
So, okay, I have a question. So, but like, what's the demographic for, TikTok seems like it's for my kids. Right. Or is it trending where like the parents are watching it too?
They all do that. They all kind of start for our kids, and then they start, except for LinkedIn, and then they start to trend up. So actually, I believe 30 and over right now is the fastest growing demographic on there, mostly because the kids are mostly all on there. But it's more industries we see. So really in the mental health space, like if you are a counselor, you should heavily be on there. And then in the career coaching space, the hashtag job advice, I think it was hashtag job advice or career advice, last month, over 80 billion views on videos and that. So in the career coaching space for this LinkedIn, for people watching on LinkedIn, if you're a coach, if you're helping with resumes, like it's a great space. And then randomly dentists are doing really well on TikTok as well. So, but we've had a couple clients we've put on TikTok recently. One on her first video hit 26,000 views. Another one was over 30,000. So very, very if they like you and you're all in. But yeah, so they're trending up. You got to watch what the kids are doing and know it'll eventually make it to us old people.
One quick thing that I want to mention is that when we had a lot of things that went on in 2020, Aaron, you were really vocal about folks that speak on diversity and inclusion, and that, random dudes like myself that are involved in leadership in a company can't just go ask a friend to say, hey, come speak to my company. It's a service and you pay for it, and there's a process and there's a business in it. I feel like the same is with social media. And I feel like a lot of people will come to you, or Kiffany, maybe yourself, and they'll say, hey, I want you to post on, I want you to help me. I want you to do this. But, Kiffany, you mentioned you barter. And I feel like, for the audience, they really need to understand that they need to be trading value and not just be asking people for stuff, because it's just one of those things, like, people do things for a living, and you just can't expect people to do it. And I don't think that people do it on purpose, but I think they need to be reminded. I think on this show, this is silly. It's little things. Someone made a comment of like, hey, are you the person that puts the grocery cart back? And I thought to myself, sometimes I just throw it on the curb. I have not done it since then, but I needed to be reminded, just kind of like I needed to be reminded as I refer things out, especially my friends in the diversity and inclusion business that run very successful, amazing practices, that there is a cost associated with those services. And I hope people do the same with people in the marketing space, because when certain people are posting, it's worth money, and you just can't ask people to do it like it's no big deal, and then get offended when they're like, "Oh, I don't want to do it." It's like, well, there's an actual monetary value to it, and you're asking to take money from them, but not give them any in advance. Hey, Kiffany, can you post about my new store opening up? And you're like, why would I do that?
I think it happens. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, you're absolutely right. And I think there's also, I don't know if you agree with me, Aaron, there's a difference between me being happy to put something on my stories, but not necessarily on my feed. So if someone locally is like, hey, we really want to push this, would you mind sharing? I say, absolutely. I'll put that in my story. I'm happy to share. I would love to help you in some way. And, but on my feed, it makes sense. And us as a company, we've chosen to just put our products only on there. But I've also learned my lesson earlier in my career where I did ask to trade and barter and someone got offended and they were very upset. And so I now am very delicate with my asks, and I say, are you open to this? Is that something you're interested in? And instead of just saying, hey, I want to trade this and assuming. So I've definitely, we all make mistakes, and I've made plenty. So I've learned it's very delicate. And so that's why it's important to make those relationships and have strong relationships before you ask.
Yeah, Jason?
I was just saying that, I made a lot of mistakes in my life, but I think, though, the key is that what you learn from those mistakes is the key, because there's always a lesson in everything, right? So, I mean, we're all going to make them. It's just how have we gotten better because and it wasn't, most of the time it's always our mistakes are very well-intentioned, right? But it was like, oh, wow, maybe that didn't really go how I thought it was supposed to go. So, yeah, I mean, just saying, hey, failure's feedback, right? That's all it is.
Well, I think it's funny Scott brings this up, because actually one of my most viral posts ever on LinkedIn was I crossed out names and I crossed out faces because I'm kind of like that. But it was a gentleman telling me he would take me for a cup of coffee to pick my brain to teach him how to use LinkedIn, and just assuming, right? And so I said, okay, great. This is what I charge an hour for consulting. But I feel like it happens, and Mandy, I'm sure it happens to you with attorney work, right? Oh, I know a lawyer.
I buy this piece of real estate.
Here, my friend Mandy will tell us real quick. So I just think I love that you're bringing it up for marketing, but I think overall, understanding there's that meme that constantly goes around that says, I charge this amount for 10 minutes worth of work because I spent 20 years learning how to do it. And keeping that in mind too is really important. But yes, social media. And Kiffany, I'm going to push back at you a little bit, because stories actually have a lot bigger organic reach right now. So I think you need to also, I'm going to push back at that. They don't stick around as long, but their organic reach is a lot more than that feed reach right now. So reconsider that. All right, we've got about 15 minutes left. I got one more question plus your famous icebreaker. So Jessica, let's go to you with this. What was a win you had over this past year? I know your industry, you and I met for lunch a few times, and I know at first it was real tough, but then it kind of, everywhere I turned, you were winning stuff, you were doing all sorts of stuff. So what was some wins you had this past year? Because you really came out on the other side of this awesome.
Well, I think for us as an organization, it was really like, we made the decision in the 11th hour to pivot what is a camp that we've been doing for 20 years now, practically, to a virtual space, and had, because of the volunteers and amazing partners that we have in the community that were willing to video themselves doing sports instruction, frankly, we were able to offer a virtual camp experience for girls in lieu of offering the in-person. And that felt like a huge win because we pulled off the pivot in like 2.5 weeks, which is insane. And we were able to take what was normally like a week experience to like a whole month experience that they could activate on and have content to use and see, touch, and feel, not just looking at a screen. We certainly, there was part of that, but yeah, that felt like a huge win. And then, I think, I tried to use 2020 as an opportunity to connect with a whole lot of people once we were able to do so in person and Zoom. And I feel like that was a win for me. Like, I got deeper connections with people like you, Aaron, and people like the Centurions colleagues that I have, and just an opportunity to really, I think, stop and reflect on how important those relationships and connections are. Because in a time I felt so disconnected from so many things it felt really like a huge win to be able to sort of reprioritize and reevaluate how important people are in our lives.
I knew you were going to do this, so I'm just going to do it for you. First of all, with Camp Win, you also got every little girl, because we did it, got an actual package in the mail.
Yeah.
To be able to participate. But did you win an award recently? Were you named something really big time recently? Could you please talk about that?
Yes, I was named to the Next Gen Leaders Group for 2021.
Oh, good for you.
Thank you.
Way too humble, Jessica. You can't come on this show and be humble.
Aaron, also, I'm not trying to skip to the comments there. I don't know if you've read them.
I was going to bring those up at the end, Scott. I got this.
I got to listen. I broke a rule.
It's okay. If you come on to the show, if you come in the waiting room on time, it'd be no big deal. Just kidding. Okay, yes, Jessica named Next Gen this year. So she really killed it during COVID. So good job, Jessica. Next time, please lead with that. Mandi, what has been a big win this year for you?
So I would say I've got a couple. So like my law firm grew in 2020. And so I think that is, it was, I look back at the end of the year and I was like, wow, like this is crazy. But I think also just like what Jessica said, I've been practicing for 20 years and last year was a huge adjustment. We haven't had hearings in person. We haven't had, you're having to meet with clients like I'm a relationship person. I'm used to being face-to-face. And so then to have to totally adjust, I think we did it successfully. So I think it was good. The other thing I'm going to say is just kind of a win for Kansas City. Was anybody at the sporting game on Saturday night? Okay. It was amazing. And I just have to say that it was kind of emotional because it showed Kansas City had come full circle, right? It showed the city had come from, where we were and everything being shut down and no fans. And then Kansas City came out in full force. It was a beautiful night. It was a great game. It was a good win. And it was just so hopeful. And I thought it was just a really high five to Kansas City for Saturday night. So.
Well, I love sporting games. I wish I would have been there.
FOMO for everyone.
Yeah. It was really, didn't you think, Jessica? It was awesome.
Yeah, it was. The energy was there was nothing to match it.
Right.
Nothing.
I agree.
It was amazing.
Randomly, this reminded me of this. I don't know if anyone saw this, but we were talking about stories earlier. But our favorite, Patrick Mahomes, we all love him, right? I was in Texas last weekend. So anybody that my daughter had a Chiefs shirt on, everyone had to talk to us about Patrick Mahomes. But I saw he had his Mahomes thing in Hawaii this weekend. And when he went to introduce Brittany, he said, my fiance, but more importantly, owner of, and brought up Jessica, what's the name of the team? I'm going to mess it up.
KC Woso right now. And they're still working on their name, but they go by KC Woso.
Okay. Perfect. And said, more importantly, owner of. And I thought that was such a great women empowerment movement to have him do that. It was like an idol to everybody in Texas for sure.
Those millennial men, I tell you.
I'm pretty sure he's Gen Z, though. He's 24. That makes him Gen Z.
He's mixing it up, but you have a big crush on old Patrick.
Well, I don't know if I do, but I'm very impressed with him.
No, in a great way. I mean, I love that you're highlighting how he lifts up Brittany.
He always lifts her up, and I just thought that was really impressive. So also for Kansas City and soccer, and that made me think of that. So, all right, also get your sporting tickets. I'm Mandi. I'm going to find you next time I'm there. Yeah. All right, Kiffany, you've talked about some of your wins, but what are some other things you've had happen this past year?
Yeah, holy cow. Honestly, what has been the most difficult season as a business owner, because I'm new to this, again, only 4 years as a small business owner. Before that, I was a teacher, a middle school teacher, and I coached cheerleading for 10 years. I loved being with those kiddos. I miss the kids, not the other stuff. But this new season of being a business owner and then opening an ice cream shop, wow, I feel like I could write a book. Now I'm having to learn all about city planning, having to learn about all the permits, and then the city inspector, and then the health inspector. And then thank goodness we had Josh at Empowered Electric to help us navigate. Seriously, I was like, we're not doing this without Josh. And then he, of course, had Rick, Wade, all the guys. I mean, the best experience ever with all the contractors and the small businesses. And then shout out to Angie at Strata, who saved us. We had no idea what we were doing. All of that to say, we had to learn so many things. meanwhile, we have 3 little boys, 2, 5, and 8. So I'm trying to be like mom and all the stuff. So it was just crazy. But I'm so proud that we got through it as a family. Also, my husband is now full-time in the business with me. So we're both doing this together. And so it's been a journey. And now that the shop is open, I'm excited just to find our rhythm and find our groove in all of this. But it's definitely been a huge, I felt like, uphill battle a lot of the time. So I'm happy to be here.
Well, that's a win this year. I like
Right.
it. Jason, what is a win that you've had this year?
Well, yeah. So my book hit Amazon bestseller status personally. So that was a big win. I taught in person for an entire year with a mask on, kindergarten to 4th graders, PE class. And we've gotten our first clients with 40 athletes, and we just went really live in November, so January, and then we have a goal of getting to 20 by August. So I mean, and my biggest one of all is my family is healthy, quite frankly, and I have a 4 and a 2-year-old boy as well. My wife is healthy. My in-laws are older, but the fact that we've stayed relatively healthy, I mean, you're gonna have your kid stuff, but at the end of the day, after losing my dad, I realized like the most important thing is just people being there with you, and so that's my biggest win.
I love it. All right, Scott, we've got 4 minutes left. This is your favorite part of the show. We had a little ruckus on our page the other day because we always joke about Olive Garden over on the show, and we said we'd take someone to Olive Garden if they could get Katie Sowers on the show for us, and then someone got mad at us for not choosing a local restaurant. It's just a joke. It's just a joke.
Oh, I'm not joking. If you go to Olive Garden, they treat you like family. They give you the breadsticks, the salad, and right now, endless soup. And that's not even the entree they give you.
But we still support local, just for those of you on our page that have strong opinions. So we like to do the icebreaker at the end of the show. It's Scott's favorite part.
Well, Aaron will wrap it up when Jason is done. But I do want to say Aaron is going to be in Mexico within the next couple of hours, and her toes will be in the sand tomorrow morning. And I know she's been dealing with a lot to get to this point, and I can instantaneously see a big smile come over her face because of the panel. So this panel's an awesome panel, and you're definitely sending Erin out on a high note when she's trying to do 40 things. Jessica, I don't want to. You already shared one, but the icebreaker is going to be someone from your school that inspired you, and you need to share the name if you can remember, but the subject they taught, and if you can remember the hour. Was it first hour, first period? So give a little sense of the timing. If you can't remember, no worries.
And you got 30 seconds to do it.
Yeah, I got it. Okay, I got it. Karen Curtin. She was a history teacher. I don't remember. I think it was 5th hour history. And she listened. She was a great listener, always.
That's awesome. Mandi?
Okay. I wish I would have known this earlier, but that's okay. It was my American government teacher in high school. I kind of feel like it was 6th period, and he nominated me for Girls State, for Kansas Girls State. And that was like such a cool experience at the time. So
Kiffany and Jason, you can't pick yourself, although you probably have a lot of students that would pick you. What if you had to go back to high school? What would it be?
High school, definitely my junior. I was a junior in high school. It was my English literature teacher, Carrie Heimlich, and I think it was 3rd or 4th period. But she inspired me. She made the books come alive and gave me the love of reading. And I still credit her for the reason I became a teacher.
Jason?
Brother Steven, 2nd hour English class, you always came prepared. You did not want to show up unprepared. So yeah, that taught me how the importance of preparation.
Aaron, what about yourself?
Bob Evans, he's still my Facebook friend, and once you graduate high school, you can go to his parties, and he still throws them, but he was my journalism teacher, and here I am doing everything I told him I thought I would do, and he said it was good to go, and he also let us sneak out at lunchtime when we didn't have open lunch.
That is hilarious.
How about you?
I'm going to cheat since it's our show. I'm going to say college, Dr. Alardi. He taught abnormal psych along with a lot of other things, but I never went to class in college unless it was mandatory. It was the only class that wasn't mandatory that I would attend. And there was seating room for 250 at the University of Kansas. He'd always have 300, meaning people would just go to hear him. And it was crazy. You people weren't in your class, but they would just come to hear him. So he was a really good teacher.
What a great icebreaker this week. So, okay, let me get through some of these comments and let's wrap it up. First of all, Kiffany, Toby's going to come see you. They like the sport and they'll be there this summer. Jason said he stumbled on the show today. Thanks for all your candor, bravery, and sharing. Folks like you are why his 18-year-old is not ecstatic today. So thank you guys. The environment you've built with the show validates and values people of all interests and characteristics. That makes a difference. Thank you for the authentic sharing today, guys. And thanks for the show. And Toby, one more time, says he's with you, Scott. Olive Garden and the breadsticks are fire. With that, thank you so much to our guests and our panelists. We really, truly appreciate you saying yes. Thank you to Bank of Blue Valley. And I'm going to go to Mexico, but I'll be back in time for this show next week. So we'll see you next time, same place. Thanks, y'all, so much.